Right then, this is a walk around video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 1.6S diesel. Finished in blue, and you can tell straight away this is one of these facelift models because it's got this fantastic looking front end on the car now. Much more aggressive, much more market looking as well, and the car is in absolutely fantastic condition. Come around the front of the car, it's hardly a mark anywhere that I can see here. I'm sure if you get a microscope out you'll find something, but you have to look extraordinarily hard, so I can't see anything immediately obvious there. Come down the near side, passenger side first. Absolutely mirror smooth on the panel work there. Near side front alloy, completely clean. Full set of Goodyear tyres fitted to the car as well, by the way, which is again a really good sign of ownership. On the panel works absolutely superb. Near side rear alloy, unmarked. And come around the back, again restyled with the silver trim at the bottom and the chrome strip deepened into the middle there. It's subtle changes that really have made a huge difference to the stance and look of the car. Offside of the car, the driver's side, again as with the near side, is beautifully clean in the panels. Offside of rear alloy, unmarked, and then come down the final panel work, which is all but blemish free. It's hard to spot anything immediately obvious on the car, and I have tried. Offside front alloy, again completely unmarked. So overall, car's in absolutely super condition. So coming into the boot area of the car, absolutely huge on these CR-Vs, and it's been kept wonderfully well. Plastics, all the fabrics look pretty much as new back here. It's coming into the back now. These really wide opening rear doors, huge amounts of rear leg room on the CR-Vs, and the seats are set for me at the front, and I'm over 6 foot tall, so I'm not cheating. And the seats in the back are in wonderful condition. Coming into the front now, driver's door card, passenger door card, as with all the others, lovely condition. Footwell areas clean and unmarked. And the front passenger seat, again in super condition there. So finally, just go into the driver's door card. Again, full set of original mats, the mats I should have said on the car, which again, all excellent. And driver's seat, in a really nice condition there. So inside the car now, engine's running through this section so the dash can be seen illuminated. Dashboard looks pretty much as new. It's in beautiful condition here. Come across the main dashboard binnacle and pan in there for you, and you can see 35,419 miles, and there are no warning lights on the dashboard whilst the engine's running. Steering wheel looks and feels absolutely as new in hand. It's in absolutely super condition. Just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key are all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 1.6S diesel. This particular car is registered RV65FFJ, and mileage at the start of the road test is 35,419 miles. The reason we do the videos is basically so that anyone that's looking at this car online in an advert actually gets to see that very car in operation. It also gives us an opportunity to feedback any issues on the vehicle that might manifest themselves whilst driving the vehicle itself, on test drive. We know to our own cost just how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which looks super in the description and in the photos, only to drive it to find out it's got a fundamental fault which would either have stopped you going to see it, or at least would have given you an opportunity to sort of make up your own mind and make allowance for that if necessary. Road test is also done on these very quiet country roads in this lovely part of Gloucestershire, and we're a stone's throw from the motorway. You'd never believe it when you get here. It's so quiet and tranquil, but it does make for a rather peaceful test drive, generally speaking. Car itself, obviously it's been a very well looked after car, and I have to say, as you'll know from the walk around video, it's in lovely condition, and it drives every bit as nice as it looks. It just has that kind of newness to the feel of the car, because everything feels so tight. on the vehicle, so there's sort of zero wear. That's the kind of the feeling that comes to the vehicle. Engine, of course, starts absolutely instantly and settles to an absolutely even and smooth idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard relating to the engine or any other part of the car, and temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car when up to full operating temperature. The engines themselves are brilliant units. They really are. Not only are they very nice to use day in, day out, because it's smooth, quiet, it's also got loads of poke and grunt to it. I don't think, because they've downsized from 2.2 to this 1.6, that it's affected its performance, because it hasn't at all. The engine, if anything, pulls even more strongly from lower revs. You touch the throttle and the thing picks up straight away with real urgency, more so than the 2.2 ever did. But the biggest gain is in fuel economy, because you're probably looking at least 5 or 6 miles per gallon more, and that's conservative, than the original 2.2s, which in itself was a very fuel efficient engine. They are cam chain driven, no cam belts on these to worry about, so none of those huge services looming in the ownership of the car. Engine then feeds through clutch and into gearbox. Clutch on the car is absolutely perfect, as you'd expect. Bite point's exactly where it should be. It's nice and smooth on the pedal as well. No sort of creaks or groans or clickety feelings at all. Clutch then feeds through into the 6-speed gearbox, which I've always raved about on the CR-V, which is possibly a strange thing to do on an SUV, but the problem with SUVs is that it almost seems to be an excuse for manufacturers to give them a kind of a truck-like gearbox, long in the throw, a bit wafty and aimless. This couldn't be more different. It could happily sit in any of Honda's more sporty cars. It's short in throw, wonderfully precise, got a fantastic action to it. It might seem a trivial thing, but when you're driving the car day in, day out, and you're in and up and down the gearbox, it's joyful to use, absolutely fantastic. And I can feel zero wear in it in the linkage. Steering of the car, again, real strong point on the CR-Vs. It's precise, accurate, beautifully weighted. Again, can't feel any wear in it. Track's absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations at all coming back to the steering wheel at this speed, or any speed up to the legal limit. But the steering matches the chassis perfectly, because the corners like this, you don't have to move the steering wheel too far. Body control is so good on the chassis that it keeps up with the steering beautifully. It's just a very, very nicely set up car. The chassis, as I've alluded to, basically Honda know this market intimately. I mean, the CR-V is the best selling SUV in the world, so they pretty much know what their customers at least want. So what it gives you is a very compliant, comfortable ride, but it manages to give it really good body control through the corners, so you don't get huge body roll angles coming through the car, and it doesn't feel unwieldy in the slightest through the tighter corners. And again, that can be particularly unsettling for rear seat passengers if it's kind of wallowing around. Excuse me. Pardon me. I can feel that one building up. So yeah, the chassis is a real class act. And again, on road tests, what I'm looking for is when it hits a bump, and you'll hear it hitting a bump, although it's subdued. What you don't want to hear is any kind of secondary kind of knocking noises or chatterings, and there's nothing at all from underneath the vehicle. So I'm going to get up to speed a little bit before I just check the brakes. I know they're good, I checked them earlier, but just for the video. But basically, brake pedal, just give it a bit of a shove. So really nice brake pedal on the car. I just want it to be nice and solid and powerful feeling, but also no kind of rumblings or pulsing through the brake pedal. And it pulls it up straight and not sort of violently pulling left or right, and it's perfect in that sense. Looking around inside the car, it's in, again, fantastic condition, as we already know. What a video cannot get across is just the sheer build quality of these things. I've always moaned about it on the videos, but it really frustrates me when you see car magazines testing brand new cars, and the same candidates are the ones that come out top of the build quality charts. But that's when they're new. That's when they're nice and shiny and everything's only opened and shut a couple of times, the button's been pressed a few times. This is real build quality a few years down the line, and this is where the Hondas excel. They are deliberately mean, they're made out of lovely materials, but practical materials where you can wipe them clean and keep them in good condition. But it's the absence of any creaks, groans, rattles, anything inside the car, and that's how build quality should be assessed, but it's a shame that they decide not to do that. It's also a wonderful place to sit and drive a car. Driving position is perfect. The pedals to the steering wheel to the seat, that design is just superb. It gives you a brilliant view out to the front of the car, and the dashboard itself is joyfully easy to use and get used to. All works absolutely perfectly, by the way. You've got dual zone climate control system, so you can have different temperatures side to side, with an auto setting on it. Air conditioning pumps out lovely cold air, that was checked earlier. Dashboard in front, simplicity itself, typical Honda. They just give you what you need, really, and it works perfectly, so you can take information ever so simply. You've got a high-up display for your radio and your climate control system, so you don't have to take your eyes off the road whilst you're doing sort of minor changes on a more regular basis. And in the middle of the dashboard here, we've got a separate information display system for further information should you want it. But it has that kind of new car feel to the interior in terms of the way it drives. I can't fault it. I simply can't fault it. I'm not giving it any allowance for any age or mileage or the fact that it's used at all. It is just a lovely, lovely car. You can see why they're so popular, because there has been a tendency, and even Honda know that, for especially in the used market, because they hold the values so well. You can buy lesser makes, maybe a year or two younger, maybe with a fraction less mileage. But they're coming back to the CR-Vs in hordes. We've seen loads of people who've tried, I'm not going to say the names, but sort of slightly lower down the pecking order in terms of sort of quality and reliability, only to suffer the issues, and then to come back to the Hondas with open arms, because they're just, it is a wonderfully engineered car. That's brilliant for family use, and it's an immensely practical car. As I said, I can't fault it. Having said that, if there's any questions at all, don't hesitate. As always, please do give us a call.